Welcome to week 3 of the Healing the Womb container. Today's webinar is about the connection between our throat and our sacral, the larynx and the cervix, and how these two creational stargates allow us to be the stewards and the creators of this reality. Last week's transmission was quite intense, and it actually, after our session, I fell asleep for like half a day and went through pretty much an entire week of deep cleansing myself. Basically, it was just being shared that, this information that we're moving through right now in this container, it's really a new way of describing and understanding the information that was once held in the ancient mystery schools. And so I actually didn't really super deeply realize how deep this information is, because it's kind of just, very intuitive and natural, and just like the way that reality exists for me. But it helped me realize just the intensity and the depth and the awesomeness of this work that we're doing together is. So I wanted to preface this transmission with that, because this container is quite an experiential transformation. It's not like, we're sharing information about things. The information is meant to activate certain frequencies of perception about ourself, about our woman anatomy, and how to activate our awareness of our anatomy to reclaim our role as the goddess creator and the steward of this planet. And the reason why I decided to do this container with only women was because, first of all, there are all of these women who are at this place of being ready to move into this level of mastery, but also that the woman is actually at the center of creation in our human society in a healthy situation. It's not that it's a matriarchal or patriarchal society. There's that polarity in itself. It's not real. It only exists in the intellect. Only the intellect would say matriarchy is the opposite of patriarchy. Females are not the opposite of males. That is a confusion that only exists in the mind, because when you move into the body, you realize that, having breasts that create milk and having a uterus that grows a baby is not the opposite of different anatomy parts that don't do those things. Whew. And I feel that when I begin to sit into the truth of that, it's actually really difficult because of all of these confusions about, the patriarchy is polarized. And so if we had a matriarchy, that would be polarized too. But it's actually not really about women leading, because that's still women operating in a state of patriarchy. It's just patriarchy that's performed by women, right? It's like a masculine energy driven society that is created or participated by women. So what I'm getting at is actually restoring. It's really simple. It comes down to restoring our intrinsic reverence and respect for life and creation. Right? we have to realize that we have lived in a society that have basically separated all its society members away from that connection to life, away from that respect, from the sacredness of life. And that sacredness of life is something that comes very, very naturally to a woman's body because we carry babies. And not only do we carry babies, then we carry timelines and realities, we carry nourishment. We have this anatomy that pulls nurturance energy through our vessel that gives life. And so this is a very deep alchemical understanding of our vessel that I'm inspiring us to move into. That it's not just, I have a hand and an arm and ears, I feel things with my skin. It's in a multidimensional reality and lens of perception. Life force energy is flowing through our vessel and is flowing through our multidimensional anatomy. And then we are actually shaping the entire reality through our imagination and our attention and our awareness, our thoughts, our expression. All of that is weaving the reality and it's nourishing the reality. So when a society oppresses its women, then that society experiences an intrinsic lack because the infinite energy of creation is not flowing through us. And so what we would normally have, the human society would normally have access to, is that infinite amounts of nourishment and growth energy through the women. That energy is no longer available. And when that energy becomes not available, then society feels as if it's in lack. And that is reflected in, how we interact with nature and how nature is now degrading. It's all interrelated. And so through our own reclaiming of the free flow of creative energy through our body, through the women's body, we are actually restoring the ecological balance of the planet in all dimensions. Because we're finally allowing that infinite creation energy to flow through our body. And there's so many crevices of this reality that is so hungry for that, because that energy has been, cut off for so long on this planet. And so that really ties into our freedom of expression, right? The ancient Taoists say that, some people like to say the phrase free the nipple these days, but it actually is based in a science that the breasts are actually the center of nurturance. And when the woman is able to be free and not feel afraid, like something's going to attack her or some people are going to judge her in any way, that allows the creative energy to flow. And again, that energy is what's nourishing her family, her society, her planet. So in the Taoist scriptures, they actually say, societies that allow their women to be free advance and evolve, become way more advanced quicker than societies that do not. And Ashley asks a question about feminism. Just how does feminism play a role in this? And when I think about feminism in our society, it's very much about, again, what I was saying about patriarchy playing through the woman, right? Like, we're equal to men. We are like men. It's that, like, that sentence inherently says that women are not as respected or powerful as men, and that we have to like fight to be as equal as them, when really, we play different roles in society. And again, the fact that I even have to say these woman bodies carry life multidimensionally. It's bringing just our awareness back to the more primordial and natural aspects of our being. And there's so many distortions that can only exist in the mind, like I was saying. This whole man versus woman, like, they're the opposites of the same pole. It's like, no, we're very just different creatures. We're not the opposite of each other. Okay. So this, just wanted to say all of those things because this is quite a profound exercise that we're doing right here to free our creativity and to free our voice and our expression. Because you're not just freeing your voice. For a lot of us, we might be moving through programs that say like, oh, what I have to say is not important, or nobody's going to listen to me anyway. And these little programs and voices kind of take us away from the bigness of the point of what we're doing. Because when you think about it, like when we move through this process, we're literally liberating this force of life that has been degraded and controlled for thousands of years on this planet, and how that control and oppression on the planetary energy system has affected all systems on this planet, the ecosystem, the human sphere, the animals, everything. So it might sound crazy, but the liberation of our energy here in this level, in our inner alchemy, in our basic state of being, this is going to lead to the rebalancing of everything. And yes, that is what you are doing every day through your work, through your healing, through your dedication to explore this level of the reality. It is so amazing and beautiful. So Nicole says, I love what you're saying. For me, visually, the masculine and the feminine are lines that intersect to create a new thing, the child, the next dimension. If women were the opposite of men, then they couldn't intersect. They would have to exist on opposite ends of the same spectrum that holds both masculinity and femininity. I agree exactly. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of warming up here. Trying to figure out if I can put this mic down. I don't think I can. So we're gonna rub our hands together like we did last week. Just sending some energy to our hands and our palms, some tingles and some warmth. We'll put it over our heart. And just take some breaths here, conjuring up some feelings of warmth, safety. And just communicating with all levels of ourself, all parts, all energies, that this is a unconditionally loving and safe place for all of you. All parts of you are welcome to express yourself here. And just sink into that warmth for a moment. And we'll rub our hands together again here. We'll place our hands down over our womb, lower belly, under the navel, and send that warmth and love down there. Bring about a sense of reverence, maybe dignity, pride, connection. And we'll just bring our hands together one more time, and this time we're going to close our eyes. And we're going to bring our hands to our heart one more time. This time with our eyes closed, we're really intending to connect with our subtle awareness of our body. So we might actually feel this warmth in our heart kind of move downwards and fill up all the way to our toes. Maybe you feel the tips of your toes. Maybe you wiggle your toes a little bit just to awaken that awareness. We're tuning into the subtle energy realms. Just feel where your toes are, and then maybe where your ankle is. Ooh. And just brushing up the legs into the hips. Feel the lower belly expand as you inhale. And just feel the subtle movements that are occurring in the body. If any fear arises, just tune back into the heart, into this room, into the profound love that is here in all of us for each other. And just tune into the subtle energy of our body for a little longer. Okay, now from this place, we're just going to make a tone. So any vowel or shape you want, but still with our eyes closed, we're just going to sort of vibrate our throat a little bit while we're tuned into the subtle energy here. So any tone like very focused on the throat chakra in this now moment. And so when you do the tone, just explore the different feelings you get if you sing a little louder as opposed to if you sing quietly. Maybe what it feels for the sound to come out in different shapes or vowels. Notice how there are all of these different points between the nasal path and the back of the throat that the sound can kind of bounce off of. So for example, don't have to assign any meaning to anything. We're just exploring how everything feels and coming into awareness of the different ways that sound can exist and bounce off of our face and come out of our face. Okay, so now I'm gonna see how we can feel connecting or seeing a sound from a different chakra. So we're gonna start with the heart chakra. So let's actually just feel into the energy of the heart chakra for a moment. If it helps, you can put your hand there. Just feel warmth emanating from the heart. And then as if the heart itself had a voice, or the energy, or that is where the source of the sound is. You might find that this is quite an emotional process. It's almost like the heart might feel like after so long, after its feelings have not been felt for so long, that it finally gets to express itself. And that's really beautiful. I'll just keep singing. Yeah, I'm feeling quite a profound energy here right now. I feel like it is activating a level of self-recognition and the power and the level of love that you're capable of feeling inside of ourself. Definitely aiding in the expansion of that heart. This is a reflection of the infinite creativity, the infinite universal energy that we are. Moving into allowing ourselves to recognize all this love that we have for all of creation. Allowing that to be expressed through our voice. We'll just sing with our heart for a little bit longer here before we move on. Ooh. Hi, Azra. Hi, Mia. a personal believer that singing is magnificent and one of the most powerful ways that we can create channels of energy from the divine source into this realm. Again, because we are womb beings, we literally bring beings from other dimensions into this physical world. And through that channel of living creation energy, we don't have to bring through children, we can bring through this cosmic creation energy. So when we open up the stargate of our throat and we connect it to the stargate of our cervix, which we're about to move into, we start singing. We start singing anywhere to the world, singing any of our feelings. We're actually literally creating stargates from all of creation in this physical reality. And that's just like the internal alchemical part of that, because then the channel is open and we become activated to actually move with that open channel to create anything that we want, which ends up being, not-for-profits, projects, books, education systems, medical systems, all these different things that will transform this world. It starts from the opening of our energy system. And if Azra and Mia, y'all get any cuter over there, I'm gonna have to. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I love you guys so much. Okay. Ah, beauty. So I think Siobhan and I had a conversation maybe a week or two ago about the freedom of expression and how, our parents and all the women in our society have kind of been, trained to not feel sexy because either, because society's going to judge us for being whatever, or we're going to get unwanted attention. And this virus is something that we're going to address because on an energetic level, again, it's something that just fundamentally oppresses and shuts down our creative energy. And so if there's any fear in our system of violence or of judgment, in those regions, I don't know if Siobhan, you have anything to add to bring forth of that energy. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, it actually came up with our first session together when I looked in the mirror. So basically, like even a lot of us, like we will change the way we dress or even put on weight because we could sense the distortions towards interactions, even as young as children, or unwanted feedback or energy. Like we could sense this energy, especially, it tends to be males or older males within our family or around strangers. Even though we might not have understood what we were feeling, we could feel the distortions. And a lot of times we took it on ourselves as if these negative attentions or feelings, because we didn't understand them, it was something wrong with us. And I just remember, you know, kind of like making a decision unaware though, like I only want this type of attention, like from the person I'm with. And, and then so you start to distort and do things in your field unaware, put on weight, things of that nature, just to get less attention, because a lot of times we were getting attention from actually negative beings and entities, but we just had no clue of what these distortions or negative energies were. And basically with looking through the mirror is really getting to forgive ourselves, because we just didn't understand that we actually had the power to start clearing those distortions even within the individuals, or even within the beings or the entities that were projecting that towards us. So that realization was coming in with your help in this container. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so I definitely moved through this a lot last year when I had an experience with a close friend of mine who was a very extraordinarily talented male tantric healer. And they are very rare and hard to come by because, you know, a lot of males that claim to be tantric healers are total whatevers. I'm not going to use any bad words today, but I'm saying it telepathically. Um, but this particular person was extraordinary. He's extremely aligned and powerful. He doesn't tell anybody that that's what he does. He's kind of just, you know, by divine appointment only. And so I remember being in the ceremony with him one night. It just spontaneously happened. And it was so clear. Uh-huh. It was so clear because I was getting all these signs from the universe, you know, like literally on billboards, like right in my face, like this is gonna happen. And I'm like, no. And I remember like being in the room that night, I was literally like running away from him, like physically. I was like crawling and running away from him, screaming. Um, but anyway, I realized then that like a few days after that, I was sitting outside on the driveway, and there were these construction workers across the street, and I noticed that in that moment that I wasn't afraid of them looking at me anymore. Whereas in the past, I would just literally shrivel away. And in high school, I definitely just wore baggy sweaters and had always just like 5 or 10 pounds on me that, you know, was kind of cushion. Um, but in that moment, you know, after this energy had cleared out, I was sitting there and these males were looking at me and they were smiling, and I could actually smile back at them. Not in a seductive, like, come get me kind of way, but just in like, thanks for appreciating me kind of way. Because that's actually something that can happen, is just appreciating how beautiful everybody is. It's just like kind of the natural state of being of things. And when Siobhan shared that vision of the mirror with me, I was actually on my way to Sedona, and this energy was so present. I think I made that video about the root of patriarchy because I was mad that, you know, the men, oh, yay, the men in our society are kind of like blamed. I mean, it's not really their fault that this is happening, is that these viruses are almost using them as a way to shut down our creative energy. And so um, I was driving to Sedona. It was on 2020, 22222, lots of sacral energy. And I was like texting Siobhan furiously because this massive vision came down where I just saw like what society would be like if everyone was free and there was no violence and there was no oppression, and everybody like deeply, profoundly respected and loved creation, and how we could actually then arouse each other, you know, play with each other so more creative energy can enter into our society and be alchemized into fun stuff. And that sounds like it was a very beautiful vibration of the original template that started coming in. And then when that hit my sacral chakra, oh Lord, I was like, the next 24 hours was just like incessant purging. So we're doing it though. Like, we're going to give birth to that reality. And it's hard sometimes to be in this vibration so I can pull it through my body, but then, like, you know, encounter like a real muggle, which they exist. So Ashley said, so men aren't like that, it's just a virus. Well, yeah, some men act in ways that are oppressive because their consciousness is sick from having been basically groomed by our society. And, oftentimes our reaction are an overreaction that adds on to the false reality, right? Like, I don't know if like the men that would actually be violent towards us is a much smaller percentage than our reactions in fear, if that makes sense. Nicole says, I've been realizing that I'm more abusive to my body than the men in my life have been to my body. It's my masculine side that has been playing out the virus on my feminine side. Okay, so and with that, we're gonna go back to our singing. We're gonna start to move down our body. We were singing from the heart, where I felt a lot of grief and reconciliation occur. And we're gonna go even deeper now. Do you guys want to jump right in or take a quick break? Pee break. Pee break. All right. Yep. Let's do that.